Today, I'm going to chat about one of the most unsettling books I've read in a long time. So stick around as we chat about Stephen King's latest book, The Institute. So today we're chatting about The Institute, Stephen King's most recent book. So I have to say that this is one of the most psychologically terrifying books that I've read in a while. So the story follows a 12-year-old boy named Luke Ellis, who is a child prodigy and is actually going to be attending two different prestigious universities simultaneously in the upcoming semester. He's also demonstrated some telekinetic ability, such as tossing an empty pizza pan on the floor or closing cabinet doors with his mind. Though the impression I got was that his parents and everybody just pretty much ignored it. But Luke's ideal life is shattered one night when intruders enter his home while everyone is asleep. They murder his parents, gas Luke, and load him in the back of a van. He awakens to find himself in a bedroom that resembles his own room, except for the fact that it's missing a window. He soon discovers that he is in a sinister place called The Institute, run by the evil Mrs. Sigsbee and her harsh and ruthless crew of caretakers, cafeteria workers, doctors, and techs. So in The Institute, there are other kids who have also been kidnapped from their home, ranging in age from 7 years old to about 16. And all of these kids are special in that they have either telekinetic or telepathic talents, known as either TPs or TKs. So this is probably one of the most unsettling stories that I've read in a long time. So what we have here is an evil institution hidden away in the middle of the Maine woods that performs horrible and bizarre experiments on kidnapped children, including mysterious injections that cause convulsions. But you know what I found really distressing about this story was the behavior of the caretakers. You know, most of us have grown up believing that adults will be nice to us if we'll be nice to them, and adults would never harm a child. Well, that is so not the case here. Now, if a child behaves and does what they're told, they receive tokens which they can then use in the vending machines for treats, including cigarettes and booze. But if they don't go along with what's asked of them or dare to smart off, the scumbag caretakers don't hesitate to just slap the children across the face, punch them in the stomach, or zap them with their zappers. So they have these little taser things. But yeah, that was a little disconcerting. The harshness and the violence that the children had to endure, it was pretty much shocking, and I literally felt sick to my stomach in a couple of parts here and there while reading it, because it was just like something so out of the realm of what we're used to seeing. So I guess that's the part that I found especially distressing, the utter lack of scruples. There was also the absence of any sense of fairness, which is another thing that young children tend to believe in. So we then take a harrowing journey along with the children as some of the Institute's biggest secrets slowly come to light. Now, what's interesting about this book, though, is that in the opening pages, we're introduced to an ex-police officer named Tim Jameson, who left his job and hitchhiked to the small town of Dupre, South Carolina, I think, where he took on a job as a night knocker. So there he meets all sorts of interesting people, including the endearing and utterly eccentric orphan Annie, who seems to be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. I actually found his story to be quite compelling, and I had a difficult time figuring out how his adventure fits into that of the Institute, which was supposedly the theme of the novel. But then the story totally switches gears, and for the rest of the book, we're immersed into the day-to-day lives of the children at the Institute. But we do meet Mr. Jameson again, as he becomes an integral part of the storyline later on in the book when the novel comes full circle. Now, this is quite a long book. I actually listened to this in audiobook format, hence that's why I don't have a physical copy. And it was over 19 hours, if I remember correctly. But what a gripping story. At no point was I bored, but rather was enthralled and often horrified by the brutal plotline of the story. But the plot drew me right in from the get-go, and I became obsessed. I mean, what goes on in that institute is sheer insanity, something that I couldn't even begin to imagine on my own. And I thought that the character development in this story was also phenomenal. You know, Stephen King really knows how to write children. And I really enjoyed getting to know the kids, Luke, Avery, Kalisha, Nick, George, and the others. And yes, we even get inside the heads of the evil characters, a place that's wasn't a very comfortable place to be in. And also, the friendships that grew between the kids was especially heartwarming. And I loved how strong and distinct each of the kids' voices were. I was especially enamored with Luke, who turned out to be not only intelligent and super smart, but also brave and devoted with an extra big heart. And even though his situation at times looked completely hopeless, he soldiered on with an admirable resolve. Now, I will say that this probably isn't the book for more sensitive readers, as the book deals with some tough topics, such as child abuse, both physical and emotional, suicide, murder, grief, PTSD, drowning or near drowning, loss of loved ones, and more. So that being said, the book was kind of difficult to read in some places. Your heart will break into a million pieces, and at times you'll feel feelings of utter horror and revulsion, or at least I did. But for me, the story was worth sticking with it, and I ended up loving this masterfully told tale. I love that despite the horrors that the kids were put through, they all really supported each other and rallied together when necessary. So this has definitely made my list of favorite Stephen King novels. It was captivating, thrilling, and unsettling, and I felt that the heartbreaking scenes were nicely balanced with the blood-pumping action scenes and complex moral dilemmas. I really love the premise of this intense, sometimes brutal, no-holds-barred thriller. I felt that the ending did not disappoint. It ended up being a heart-pounding story of courage and sacrifice. I thought it was brilliantly paced, well-constructed, and flawlessly executed that left me on the edge of my seat during most of it. So yeah, it was really a spine-chilling, tension-packed gripper of a story, and I ended up giving this one 5 stars. Now, if you like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you click the like button below, as that really helps my channel out. And that about does it. I will talk to you all in the next video. Roger and out.